I think that every person on a team should have an equal authority within the group. Because in fact, when people are in the same level of the organization hierarchy, nobody should have the legal or even moral right to make decisions or make people obey. So I think that every member should listen to everybody's ideas and find a common ground to make decisions.
I believe that every member in a team can add value to the project, whatever that is. Some people might be better in a certain field than others, and this is why I believe that certain individuals are more capable and sensible to responsibility and decision making, and leading authority benefits the whole group, just like the other members benefits from each other's capacity. Everybody benefits from a leading authority.
I agree with the affirmation, but I think that is it a bit an unreachable point. Nonetheless, I also think that if everyone is actively working on acknowledging their bias and working on knowing the bias of other and the culture of other, we can reach a point where we are near the perfection.
I don't believe that we all have the same authority within a group, because for me, there are too many parameters that create this authority, such as your position in a hierarchy, your body language, or even your way of communicating. So at the end, unfortunately, I think that we don't have the same authority within a group.
So we know how to go to Mars, but the question is the date. We have to settle it, and it is
Sorry
really...
to interrupt, but as we Americans have a huge experience in space traveling, I remind you that we went on the moon 6 times already, and we have the best specialists with great space experience. I think we are ready to fly before the end of 2021. What do you think?
As our experienced fellow American friend, I agree that we could go before the end of 2021.
Maybe you are ready, but as agreed before, we will have French materials on board, and it will need time to be developed. However, the more we cooperate, the sooner we will go to Mars.
You French people, always trying to slow down the group, right?
We have to make the mission a zero risk mission. We don't want any loss during this mission.
I am with you on the point of the cooperation, but the risk is a part of the mission. It's going to be the first human mission to Mars.
Believe me, there will be no risks. Our staff is the best.
Wait, we didn't let Mr. Keisuke talk. What do you think?
I think that we should make sure that everything is perfectly prepared. The purpose is to return in the future to Mars, and without a successful first mission, we will not be able to return there.
Believe me, with the great guys we have in the field, we will go and return there a tremendous amount of times.
We started our group work by trying to define what is authority. So we opened a dictionary, also went on the internet, and we found a definition coming from a German economist called Max Weber, and that economist said that authority referred to the accepted power. In other terms, people agree to listen to authority figure because they feel that their objective and demand seems as reasonable, beneficial, or true.
Let us start with the cultural dimension of uncertainty avoidance. In today's society, people are more or less tolerant towards unpredictable events when it comes to the way they behave. Uncertainty avoidance is how culture differ on the amount of tolerance they have of unpredictability. As we try to show in the sketch, we emphasize the French and Japanese characters that are more concerned about possible outcomes. This is because French and Japanese cultures are more avoidant than Chinese and Americans to ambiguous situations. It can be beneficial to give a sense of control, but Hofstadter states that highly avoiding cultures are more stressed than accepting ones.
Let's talk now about direct versus indirect communication style. As you could see in the sketch, the American person but also the French had a clear direct communication style. It is because in their culture it is the norm, and it is perceived as a good thing because the speaker will be perceived as task-oriented. But in indirect communication style culture, like Japan or China, it will be perceived as impolite or rude. Therefore, you have to put a few other words, a compliment, or not go to the subject, straight to the subject, but turn a little bit around so people will understand what is your real message.
Another cultural dimension involved is collectivism versus individualism. Individualism is related to the preference where the individual thinks about himself and his group and stresses individual goals, such as the American did on the sketch. He always insisted that American could do the job without thinking about the goals of the other members. Individualism can bring more freedom and fast decision thinking. However, it can have an impact on the relationships and loyalty. On the other hand, collectivism is the preference where individuals care about each other and are more group goals focused. The Chinese and the French actually showed this dimension by pushing collaboration among the persons. Collectivism can bring actually efficiency and stability as the bond between the people will grow. However, it can bring an abandonment of personal goals.
Here, the high and low context concept is also really important. A low context culture, such as the United States, tends to be more specific and direct, which might make the communication clearer, but might as well put pressure on a high context culture. On the other hand, a high context culture, such as Japan, tends to look for meaning and understanding in what is not said, and the process is as important as the outcome, which will build stronger human relationships. However, they might take more time to reach an agreement when they don't know the group.
As we could observe during the sketch, individuals across cultures can have a different perception of authority. Most of the cases, one party will dominate the conversation or think that it has more power than the others, such as the American. The other party might accept the dominance and so contribute to the conversation. However, after a certain time, the party willingly to accept dominance might feel frustrated or even angered by the party who assumes dominance. This might lead to an unsuccessful conversation. So, in order to avoid that, it is important that each party takes steps to adapt to this difference of perception. In order to do that, the cultural adapt cycle can be very effective for that. This cycle includes recognizing difference and the potential impact that they can have on the conversation, choosing how to adapt to this difference and apply adaptation. Once the adaptation is made, analyze the effectiveness of this adaptation and, if needed, adjust better. In that case, for example, it could be that the dominant party take concrete steps to emphasize a more balanced power among the people, so that the people who doesn't dominate or don't talk too much can do it safely.
Não concordo com a afirmação. Na minha opinião, a autoridade de cada um depende tanto da sua personalidade como da sua cultura, conhecimentos e experiência. Numa equipa, há sempre as pessoas que dominam e essas tomam mais iniciativas, e as pessoas que simplesmente seguem e precisam de alguém que as dirijam ou que simplesmente validem o que vão fazer. Para uma equipa funcionar, não pode haver só dominadores nem só dominados.
So I think on a team everyone should have equal authority, because you can take the earth like a big team and there's black people, there's white people, no matter what color, what skin color you are, and you are all equal, and that's easy, that's simple.
I agree with the ideal that everyone on the team has equal authority within the group, but I think it is rare that this idea is put into practice. In real life, the circumstances of the group and the different members' personal experiences often get in the way of a perfect democracy.
Los personajes de un equipo cumplen una función fundamental en el mismo porque se dedican a hacer algo distinto cada uno. Entonces, si un personaje falta, la actividad no se puede realizar.